The day's other news begins in South Korea, where the acting president today ordered an inspection of the nation's entire aviation sector after yesterday's crash south of Seoul that killed 179 people. Only 2 survived when the Jeju Airlines Boeing 737-800 skidded off the runway and exploded, both of them crew members. Here's Stephanie Tsai.
An anguished man cries out among a sea of forlorn faces. Families of the victims of one of the deadliest air disasters in South Korean history want answers.
What we have to demand from the government is to bring in more experts. We've wanted the government to recover our families 100% or at least 80% as soon as possible.
Park Han-shin's brother was one of 181 people on board Jeju Air Flight 7C-2216. It was flying from Bangkok and belly landed in Muon. Without its landing gear deployed, the plane overshot the runway, barreling at high speed straight into a concrete wall. Nearly everyone on board died as the plane burst into flames. Only 2 crew members survived. They were pulled out from the tail of the aircraft.
The bodies are so severely damaged that we're in a situation where we need to recover and piece them together one by one. That's the current reality.
In the packed airport, Jeju Air executive Lee Jung-suk bowed in remorse.
We will take full responsibility and accept any necessary measures. Once again, I offer my deepest apologies.
Today, investigators are sifting through the wreckage for evidence. The black box has been recovered. It could reveal what transpired leading up to the tragic landing, but that data won't yield immediate answers. What is known is that Korean air traffic controllers had warned the pilots of the possibility of a bird strike just before landing. Some experts say that alone is unlikely to be the cause of such a major crash, and other factors bear scrutiny.
I'm pretty shocked, actually, because whatever happened to the airplane, which meant that the pilot couldn't get the flaps and gear down for the landing, was not actually what caused the death of the passengers. The passengers were killed by hitting a solid structure just over the end of the runway, where a solid structure should not be.
The ill-fated plane was a Boeing 737-800 used by 180 airlines around the world, making up about 15% of the global passenger aircraft fleet. The government ordered an inspection of every Boeing 737-800 operating in the country. Boeing said it's in touch with Jeju Air for the investigation. The grim tragedy struck at a time when the country is dealing with political upheaval at the highest level. This month, President Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached after imposing a short-lived martial law decree that angered the nation. The acting president, Choi Sang-mok, has announced a week-long period of mourning. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Tsai.
Also today, President Biden announced another $2.5 billion in U.S. military aid to Ukraine, the latest step to help Ukraine's war effort before President-elect Trump takes office next month. The package includes $1.25 billion in missiles, munitions, and other hardware that the U.S. says can be moved to the battlefield quickly. The rest comes in the form of weapons delivered longer term. Separately, the Treasury Department announced $3.4 billion in economic assistance to Ukraine. The military assistance comes as some 300 Ukrainian and Russian captives were freed today in the latest prisoner swap. Some Ukrainian troops had been held since the early days of the war. Today, they reunited with loved ones.
I'm serving and will continue to serve our country, Ukraine. The most important thing is that I am on my land. I saw my country's flag and my family. This is just the best. It's just amazing. After everything that happened to us in Russia, after what they did to us.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky thanked the United Arab Emirates for helping to negotiate the exchange. In Afghanistan, the Taliban leadership says it will close all non-governmental organizations, both national and international, that employ Afghan women. The Taliban didn't say exactly why, but have for the last 2 years warned that NGOs have to stop employing women because of concerns they weren't wearing headscarves properly. In a letter published on social media, the Economy Ministry warned that if groups did not cooperate, quote, all activities of that institution will be canceled. Since retaking control of Afghanistan in 2021, the Taliban have barred women from most jobs, from public spaces, and from education after middle school. A federal appeals court upheld a $5 million verdict against President-elect Trump for sexually abusing and defaming E. Jean Carroll. The magazine columnist had claimed Trump assaulted her in a Manhattan department store in the mid-1990s. The three-judge panel found that Trump did not sufficiently make the case that the May 2023 verdict should be thrown out. In a separate case, a jury ordered Trump to pay her more than $83 million in damages for defamation related to the assault accusation. Trump denies any wrongdoing and is still appealing that verdict. The U.S. Treasury Department revealed today that Chinese state hackers stole documents earlier this month in what it called a major incident. A Treasury spokesperson said the hackers, quote, were able to remotely access several Treasury user workstations and certain unclassified documents. In a letter to lawmakers seen by the NewsHour, the department added there is no evidence of continued access to Treasury information. This comes in the wake of a massive Chinese hacking campaign against at least 9 American telecom companies, which U.S. officials admit is still ongoing. China has previously denied any wrongdoing. On Wall Street today, stocks ended lower as traders prepare to close the books on an otherwise strong 2024. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped more than 400 points, or nearly 1%. The Nasdaq fell more than 200 points on the day. The S&P 500 also ended in negative territory. And a passing of note, Broadway actress turned sitcom star Linda Lavin has died. In the 1970s and 80s, Lavin played the title character in Alice, delivering a weekly serving of laughs as a diner waitress raising a young son.
Where did you get that?
From Roger. I traded my electric guitar for it.
You what?
He traded his electric I heard him!
The sitcom aired on CBS for nearly a decade, becoming a primetime hit and earning Lavin 2 Golden Globes. Following Alice, she returned to the stage, where in 1987 she won a Tony Award for her performance in Neil Simon's Broadway Bound. Lavin's representative says she died yesterday from complications related to lung cancer. She was 87 years old. Still to come on the NewsHour, Tamara Keith and Amy Walter break down the latest political headlines. And literary critics offer their choices for the best and most important books of 2024.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.